What's going on YouTube? It is Trev. I just got off the line with a gentleman by the name of Ragepiee. He is another former Terra Rebels guy. He received a payout and he wanted to send it back. He tells his story, and I'm going to let you hear all about it. More so than that, there was a difficulty in getting that money directly to the community pool. And Ragepiee has developed a way in conjunction with Edward Kim on how to do it. And yeah, we're gonna chat all about that. So check it out.
The scenery outside reminds me of my pride, reminds me of my will. At the windowsill I sit and see the graves, the children they all play and laugh amongst themselves. Somehow remind me of myself on the merry-go-round.
So before before we even talk about anything, I just want to let you know that I just want to reiterate that I'm recording this, and I'll probably, I'll use it to reference back to, but I could also potentially put it in a video and release it on my YouTube channel, and I just want to get your permission to do that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, awesome. So I am talking now. Am I pronouncing your name right? Is it Ragepiee?
Yes, it is.
Okay, because there's an extra E, so I wasn't sure if I was pronouncing it right.
Yeah, that's because back in the day when I chose this nickname, it was already taken, so I just added an extra E, high school stuff.
Okay, all right, that makes it easy. All right, so yeah, I want to chat with you about a couple different things. Now, Ragepiee is a former Terra Rebels member. Why don't you kind of introduce yourself and let me know what exactly your position with Terra Rebels was, how long you've been on, how long you were on the team.
Yeah. So my name is Frank, my real name. I've been in Terra Rebels since, I believe, June. I wasn't one of the first, but not very late as well. I was a backend developer working on Axion chain, as it's called. Okay. I was responsible for creating a code base for a wallet generator for multiple chains, which Luna Classic was part of it as well. But that got put on hold once the original inventor, I'm not sure if you can say it like that, but the original inventor had some personal issues getting also starting to develop on layer 1. And for that, I had to learn a few things like Go language and Cosmos SDK and Tendermint.
Okay.
And afterward, I started working on reworking the Oracle feeder.
I'm sorry. You broke up a little bit on that last part. You started working on, what was it?
So, reworking the Oracle feeder.
Oh, the Oracle feeder. Okay. Awesome.
So that's what I'm.
And you were with Terra Rebels for about 6 months.
Yeah.
All right. What was your experience there? I mean, what was the vibe? How did you like it?
During my time, I enjoyed it a lot. We had some heatful discussions about a few topics, but that's always the case when you try to solve an issue with a couple of strangers around the world. But yeah, I enjoyed my time, so
yeah,
no problems for me.
Good, that's awesome. All right, so obviously some things have gone down the last few days, and we've been talking about it for a little while. And the proposal that went through, and the community actually agreed to provide Terra Rebels with $150,000 basically. And that money was distributed in ways that were kind of surprising to the community. And a lot of people were paid out of that money. And I've covered it a bit. And from what I'm seeing, it didn't seem like anybody was really feeling like everybody didn't deserve to be paid. It was more in the idea of that's not really what you said you were going to use the money for, and then you kind of turned around and used it for that. So it took people by surprise and upset a lot of people. So, in hindsight, looking back and realizing maybe how much it upset the community, some people have attempted to get this money back and say, well, I don't want it, right? And matter of fact, I'm gonna look through my because I know that I had notes on this. Let me see if I can do this real quick. I don't want to lose you, but I want to make sure that I do this correctly. Because I spoke with Yogaba, and let me see what it was. Let me see. Front end devs, okay. Yeah, right. So now Yogaba, and I want to make this clear before we get to what your portion was, because I did talk about Yogaba in a previous video, but I failed to mention this, and it's totally my fault. But he was paid about 73 million LUNC, and he gave that back. But what he did was he sent it to the Terra Rebels kind of donation wallet. That was his method of sending it back. He didn't send it back to the community pool. Basically, he gave it to the existing Terra Rebels. But he doesn't have the money anymore. That's kind of what he did with it. And then I also talked to Salad. And Salad, if I remember correctly, never even got any of them. I don't know if he refused it. I think he refused it. But he didn't even... Go ahead.
Is Salad PSX or somebody else? I don't know him.
Salad, Metal Gear Salad.
Oh, Metal Gear Salad. Oh, yeah.
He, I guess, he was going to get a payout too, but he actually did not accept it. So he didn't have to worry about getting anything back. But you and Venus, I was speaking to on Twitter, and you guys wanted to get this back right to the community pool. But there was some difficulty in doing that, yes?
Well, we figured it out in the end, but yeah.
Yeah, right. And I guess you spoke with Edward Kim, who maybe gave you some ideas. Yeah. And then, so ultimately, what was your solution? How did you figure it out?
Shall I break down first my stance on the entire payment stuff?
Absolutely. First? Go right ahead. Sure.
Yeah. So when I started at Terra Rebels, I purely did it for fun and learning. But once the funding proposal came out, I was like, oh, cool, I'll get funded. I'll get a payment for something I'd like to do. I program in my free time as well. I do it for my job as well. So I thought that was cool. That was neat. The proposal stated that we would use it for Rebel Station, which in the end will be done. I guess they're still working on it. I left Terra Rebels in the meantime, but I guess they're still working on Rebel Station. And in my when the fuss started coming out, I thought, like, why is there a problem? It's being used for Rebel Station. It doesn't matter if it's being paid to developers or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Even though I agree with Saradar on his statement that everybody deserves to be paid in Terra Rebels because a lot of people worked their hearts out the past couple of months. But it might have been better to put it towards actually creating business, so towards the developers. Then the part of the proposal that it wasn't clear enough and that people were being misled and that sort of stuff, I started thinking about that because I do agree with the fact that the proposal wasn't clear enough on how the money was being used and how the payment within Terra Rebel went so quick. I do agree with that, so that's kind of my stance on it. I don't feel like anyone within TR try to scam anyone or rug pull anyone because they are still working on it, and the people who left are still trying to improve the chain, if it's within the L1 team or within Terra Rebels or other communities, doesn't really matter. But they're still in the community, so it kind of left a sour taste in my mouth, the fact that everyone was called a scammer, rug puller, even though I didn't feel like that. But I did agree in the end that the way it went with the not unclear proposal and how fast the payment went out, that it wasn't the right way. And that's why I started to search for a solution to return it directly to the community pool. I didn't opt out. I didn't opt for the option to send it back to Terra Rebels like Yogaba did, because that didn't really solve the issue, since it will still be with Terra Rebels in that case, which I thought about for a few days, but I opted to not do that. So I started looking into the community pool stuff. So yes, indeed, I started talking with Venus and Ed about it, and Ed gave us two options: either create a full node and use Terra D to send a transaction, or write a script for it.
Yeah.
When I started to look into the full node, it was way tougher. It requires a lot more work, and if everybody who wants to send funds to the community pool needs to set up a full node, it's way too complicated for a lot of people. So I was like, okay, fuck that. Also, my system didn't have the requirements to run a full node, so to buy a system to send back 6 million lung, in my case, it doesn't seem the right solution. So I started to write a script for it. And since Terra has two official SDKs, we obviously have the C# SDK as well within Terra Rebels. But TFL had two official SDKs, which were the JavaScript, the DS SDK, and the Python SDK. And since I have most experience with Python, I started to write a script for that. That's kind of how I ended up with the solution I tweeted out.
Okay. Yeah, there's kind of a lot to unpack there. And so first thing I want to do, though, is in fairness to Yogaba, at the time at the time that he returned that money to and he sent it to the Terra Rebels donation wallet, this solution that you've developed on how to get it to the community pool didn't exist. And also I also thought that would be a wallet for the community pool to just send it straight to. I think we all thought that, yeah.
Yeah, so in fairness to Yogaba, I would have almost done the same because I was thinking about it for a few days. But that didn't feel like the right solution for me. So
right. No, I get it. And I don't know that it felt like the right solution for him either, but I don't know at the time that he had another solution. And it was a matter of, I mean, I believe that you're right. The thing to do is to return it to the community pool and not just put it back in the Terra Rebels' hands. But at the very least, I think what he did with that action was washed his hands of it, you know?
Yeah.
And kind of cleared, because, you know, and I mentioned this before, this whole thing is going to, like, kind of follow you guys, you know? Anywhere else that you go to work or any other project that you ever decide to get back in, you're going to be one of the guys or one of the women who, you know, took that money from the community. You know, that's the way that they're going to look at it. Took the money from the community, kind of a scam, and all, you know how everybody's calling it. So that's going to follow you. So, you know, by getting this money out of your hands, I think by any means necessary, it's almost the only option you have to potentially right the wrong. But you and well, you know, again, Venus isn't really the technical person, so it was more you and Ed that kind of came up with these ideas, and you went ahead and wrote the script and actually made it possible.
Props to Venus though. I wrote the guide, but I write guides as a technical guy, obviously. So when I finished the script, I ran it through the guide to see how I could improve the guide to make it as simple as possible for everybody. Yeah. So other people can use it as well. But still, you need to set up an entire Python and virtual environment to make it work. So
Right.
Yeah, it was very technical. So
Right. I hear you. Now, did I hear you say that your particular payout was 6 million lunk?
yeah, yeah. I think the biggest reason for that is I have a full-time job, and besides my job, I also do a master studies. So I don't really have a set amount of time to invest in this chain, and also not in TR. So that's why I got the lower end of the payment, even though I didn't really even care about the money. But I was like, cool, okay, I'll get funding for something I like to do. So
Right.
yeah.
Dollar wise, and I'm not sure what country you're in, but like I don't know if you've done the conversion, but USD, what did that equal out to at that time?
I believe when I received it was around $800.
$800.
Yeah, something like that.
For six,
and that's also the reason why I tried to return it, because I don't like this fuss, and I don't like how Yogaba got threats on his public profiles. It's other TR members got death threats.
Yep.
For €800, or dollars in that case.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, a couple of the guys have mentioned that to me, and it really is unfortunate. As a matter of fact, I put out a video kind of condemning it for whatever good that does. I mean, it's just my opinion, but yeah, it's a horrible thing that anybody would have to go through that. We can really dislike the actions and kind of dislike what happened, but that's taking it way too far. It's just unnecessary. So do you now? I don't know, Rage. Do you know of the 150,000, what actual percentage of that money was used to pay people out?
That I don't have. Honestly, I don't have a clue about that. But I believe there is an Excel sheet or some sorts of the Terra addresses with the amount behind it. I believe that's correct, but I'm not sure how much the percentage-wise is paid out to developers.
Right. Is that within? No, I'll be honest with everybody. I just have not had time because I've been working too, but I haven't had time to really look through all of that documentation that was released by PSX. So is that number in that documentation somewhere?
Per address, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I believe the active set got 73 or so, and the inactive set got 6, so per person.
73. Well, yeah, he told Yogaba said that he got 73 million lunk.
So you can do the calculation, but I don't have it.
The thing is, I don't know how many people actually got paid, so it's tough for me to do that calculation. But maybe it is in that paperwork. And like I said, I haven't had time to really look through it, but I'm sure the answer's out there, and I'm sure a lot of people listening to this right now already know that answer. I had heard earlier, like very early on, I had heard it floated that maybe up to 80% of that 150,000 was actually used to pay people out. I don't know how accurate that number is, but does that seem likely to you?
Yeah, that seems likely, and we received around 900, I believe. And if you calculate at least then with 73, you already get very close, right? So
yeah,
I'm not sure we returned it, and we'll send it back to the community pool. Z got out before he got the money. He refused it, so I'm not entirely sure how much is left of that percentage.
Right. If it was 80%, and I'm not doing the math right now, my brain is too tired, but I mean, that's a considerable amount of that $150,000. And I guess what everybody's is upset about, and I'm not sure who really understands this or doesn't understand it, but when it's said, well, Rebel Station is still being developed and you're going to get it, it didn't cost, obviously, the $150,000 obviously wasn't needed to complete Rebel Station because, possibly 80% or so of that money was used to pay people out. Now, I guess the argument could be made that we're paying people to do the work to complete Rebel Station, but that's kind of a I don't know, kind of a soft argument. Because wouldn't you say that basically that money was paid out for kind of like back pay for what you guys have already done?
Well, in the case of the inactive set, that's the case anyway, because we aren't employed anymore by TR.
Right.
We were the inactive set. But yeah, if you put it straight, obviously it's not needed. If we all volunteer and if you pay pure for the hosting costs and stuff, then it's not needed. But yeah, you pay for the developers to do it.
Yeah.
So.
Right, but the developers
That's
really
probably
didn't.
the reason behind it. But yeah, I didn't write the proposal. I just voted on it and sent my ass to receive the 6 million.
Right. Well, I'm very, very happy and grateful to you for putting in the effort to get that script written and make it, as difficult as it might be, at least there is a pathway that anyone else who, has the desire to return that money can do it. So, it can't be used as an excuse. Well, there's really no way to get it back, and I don't know that anybody's used that excuse, but there is a way. So that's great.
Yeah, someone can still write a DF for it, but then people have to connect their wallet, and people are kind of hesitant to do that. So
right.
With this, you can just in a non-seed phrase locally, because the only thing you need to do is fill in the seed phrase, but you keep it on a local file. So.
Okay. From this script that you wrote, with a little more tweaking, would it be possible to simplify it to the point where just if a community member just wanted to donate to the community pool, like for instance, so this joint L1 task force proposal, 11168 is on the verge of reaching quorum. It's 99.94% yes. Some really big validators have already voted yes. I think we can safely say that it's going to pass. And so Ed and Zaradar are asking for funding. And let's say that community members were happy about that and wanted to continue to try to help them and wanted to donate to the community pool. Is it possible to take this script of yours and simplify it in a way where you could make it so that other people could donate without having to open up a node and all that?
Well, it is possible to write a DApp for it.
Okay.
Just connect the wallet and use write a smart contract for it, and make a website which you connect your wallet to and then send a transaction, and it uses a smart contract to send your funds to the community pool directly, like my script does.
Right.
Frag also gave an option, I believe, under a tweet of ASOPs, I believe, about making a dedicated module for the community pool. But I don't have the knowledge for that yet, so I'm not sure about that solution. But as far as I'm aware, those are the only two options without creating a full node to do this.
Yeah, I saw a tweet by Aesop's because he was wondering the same thing. Isn't there a simpler way to do it? And I know he had some sort of idea, something about a smart contract or something like that. I would have to read the tweet again, but there are some ideas out there floating around, which is going to be helpful, because I can see in the future that donations to the community pool, might be a thing. Yeah, all right. So thank you for coming on and telling me about, letting us know about this script. Now, if anybody, anyone who's actually received this payment and is thinking about, sending it back to the community pool, and they want to do that, did they just contact you? Is the script just out there now for anyone to access, or what?
Yeah, so I put a Google Drive share link on the tweet with a guide on there and the script itself. And then opened up my tweet DMs for if someone has any questions about how to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you follow the guide with the base, with a little bit of technical knowledge, you can do it. So.
Okay. Now I know that you had those funds delegated. and I believe Venus did too. Matter of fact, what kind of drew me to you guys was Venus's tweet that she had just undelegated all of those funds and was looking for a way to get them back to the community pool. So anyone who did delegate them is going to undelegate them, and that normally takes 21 days unless you have the funds free to play with, and you can just kind of send them that way and then undelegate and make up for it once you get them out. I mean, that's kind of what you did anyway, right?
Yeah, so the Venus tweet made me, I kind of misunderstood that tweet. I thought she already had found a way to send it back to the community pool, so I started talking about her with that.
I did too,
In the end,
yeah, I did too,
yeah,
you're right.
In the end, she just undelegated it and was still trying to find a way, so that's when I started working on it and talking with her about it. And yeah, in my case, the moment I received those funds, I immediately delegated them because why work on the blockchain if you don't believe in it? So I delegated it. Yeah. But I also had some personal funds already undelegating because I wanted to send it to my ledger. So yeah, I'll be using those funds to send it back earlier than it would have been allowed if I had to wait on the 21 days. So.
Gotcha. We're all anxiously awaiting you to do that so that we can prove that this script of yours actually works. You're kind of going to be the test for it, right? Because nobody's actually done it yet, so you're kind of the guinea pig for your own script.
Yeah, well, I already tested it with a backup wallet and a small transaction of one loan.
Okay.
I also added the transaction on Finder in that tweet. But yeah, once the 6 million is undelegated, I will try it again with a small amount again, just 1,000 blank, and then after the rest over immediately.
Yeah. Once you do that, I'm sure you'll let us know. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll do.
Yeah, cool. So what's next for you? I don't want to keep you too long. I know it's late where you are, but what's next for you? Where are you? What are your plans?
Well, so my real name is Frank. I'm already on the L1 proposal as junior dev, along with Soro. And yeah, so I'll just continue working for free with just like I did before this fiasco. And learn as much as possible about the chain and hopefully improve it a lot with the rest of the guys.
Yeah, that's awesome. So just so everybody heard that and that's clear. If you read the proposal, is your name actually in the proposal, Frank? Is that name in there as a junior dev?
Yeah, it's under the junior dev part of the proposal.
On the Agora, yeah. Anybody reading the full proposal on Agora, under the section where it talks about the junior devs, and when it talks about Frank, that is our friend Ragepiee here, and he will be joining this L1 task force, working with Zaradar and Ed. And that's going to be awesome. I mean, what an experience. Hopefully that's going to be, right?
Yeah, so far it's been fun. I've learned a lot, which I actually can use in my real job as well. So. Yeah,
awesome. I just put out I sent a message to both Ed and Zaradar asking them if once this thing passes, which is should be happening shortly, really. For them to come on and chat about it, because honestly, I haven't had a lot of conversation with them about it. They talked to me about it and, kind of, actually Zaradar did. I haven't spoken to Ed yet. Zaradar spoke to me about it, kind of gave me a brief rundown of what it was and asked me if I would be on the oversight committee. And I immediately said yes. I mean, I didn't really have to think about that. But he and I had conversations about that kind of thing before I even knew this was coming up. So I think he was kind of testing the waters with me a little bit. That's...
And honestly, I think that's a great learning from this funding fiasco we just got. The oversight committee and actually paying out when the work is done seems like a way safer and more very viable, trusting way to do this. So I guess he took some learnings out of how we went through this, or he already thought of it. But
yeah, well,
yeah.
I mean, you kind of have to, right? I mean, if you don't learn from that mistake, holy crap, right? So yeah, moving forward, obviously we're gonna take a lesson from this whole fiasco, and yeah, I'm assuming that they're gonna do things, as much on the up and up as possible. But I'm also assuming that's what the oversight committee is going to be on top of. So it's going to be quite the adventure, and I can't wait to really chat with them and find out what their actual plans are for this task force. I know that they've laid some stuff out in the proposal, but I want to kind of get into the meat of it a little bit, but. All right, I'm going to let you go because I know it's very late where you are. I thank you very much for taking this time and explaining some of these things to me. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about before we go?
I just want to say good luck on the oversight committee.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. It's going to be a good time. My only concern really is my work schedule. I mean, really, as far as an oversight committee member, all it is basically sitting in on a meeting that happens once every 2 weeks, right? And we'll listen to what the plans are, and if we have any comments or questions, about things that we think would pertain to the community, we have the opportunity to ask and to chat. But I just want to make sure that I'm available when those meetings go down, because as you said earlier, everybody's all over the world. Everybody's in different time zones.
Busy as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it seems like when all the important stuff happens, I'm at work. So I'm hoping that maybe they'll have these meetings on a Sunday or something like that when everybody is available. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I'm sure it'll work out.
Yeah, it will work out. I mean, I'm very busy as well, so I know how you feel. But if you can't be at the meetings live, just watch the recording, and then you can always give your feedback. I've got a direct line to these guys. I mean, if it comes to that, that's what I'll do. And if there are questions or concerns, I mean, I know how to reach them. So that's awesome. So congratulations to you. I know that you had told me about it earlier, but I didn't know that you were ready to announce it. So that's something you decided to do. Congratulations to you being on that team. And I'm sure you're going to learn a crap load working with those guys. Yeah, hopefully I'll be the most useful guy I can be.
Yeah. Awesome. Alrighty, sir. I'm going to let you go. Have a good night, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
Yeah, good night to you as well. Thanks for the chat.
Thank you. Good night. Bye.
Good night.